A belligerent samurai, an old Japanese tale goes, once challenged the monk to explain the concept of heaven and hell. But the monk replied with scorn, "You're nothing but a lout. I can't waste my time with the likes of you." His very honor attacked, the samurai flew into a rage and pulling his sword from his scabbard yelled, "I could kill you for your impertinence." That, the monk calmly replied, is hell. Startled at seeing the truth in what the master pointed out about the fury that had him in its grip, the samurai calmed down, sheathed his sword, and bowed, thanking the monk for the insight. "And that," said the monk, "is heaven." I first read this story in the great book Emotional Intelligence by the great Daniel Goleman. It was given to me by a friend some years ago who, while giving it to me, also told me something I could immediately resonate with. "Adrian, I really believe that the most important thing we crave for is inner peace. We want the end of the struggle inside of ourselves to find happiness and contentment. We want the cessation of our inner struggles." In this pursuit of a cessation of our inner struggles, as my friend very creatively put it, our path is full of obstacles. Every day we attempt to somehow enjoy the benefits of a balanced life, and every day we miserably fail to do so. We find ourselves struggling to cope with opinions of others, we become judgmental, we get into arguments, and our life feels like a pendulum, constantly oscillating between anger and despair. There is probably only one way to overcome these obstacles and eventually help this pendulum calm down: understanding our emotions. Imagine a scenario where you were hit in the nose hard enough to make your eyes water. The moment this incident occurs, some intense physiological reactions will take place inside your body. Your skin will grow hot, your mouth will go a bit dry, and your pulse will become elevated. You will also be overwhelmed with a strong desire to hit back the person that initiated the hit. Eventually, you will find that you've overcome this sudden influx of physical and mental stimuli. What you've just experienced, the basic emotion of anger, has passed. Now, why does a physical impact lead to so many physiological and mental changes in yourself? Most neuroscientists and physiologists agree that basic emotional responses like anger exist as a result of evolution. It's what we commonly refer to as the fight or flight response, and it is usually triggered after we experience a threat, an attack, or a harmful event. When such an event occurs, the brain processes the signal from one of its most primitive parts, which is called brainstem. This system regulates basic life functions such as breathing, the metabolism of the body's other organs, as well as controlling stereotyped reactions and movements. Unfortunately, this primitive brain cannot be said to think or learn. Rather, it is a set of pre-programmed regulators that can help the body run and react in order to ensure its survival. After that, the signal moves to the limbic system, the place where emotions are produced, before it eventually reaches the neocortex, where rational, logical thinking takes place. The neocortex evolved millions of years later on top of the emotional areas of the brain. The fact that the thinking brain grew from the emotional one reveals much about the relationship between thought and feeling. There was an emotional brain long before there was a rational one, and this is what makes humans act with emotion first. Most psychologists agree that a basic emotion like anger exists as an evolutionary trigger. We humans and most of other animals appear to be equipped with a set of predictable responses to situations. We call these the basic emotions, which are anger, fear, surprise, disgust, joy, and sadness, as those were described in the 1970s by anthropologist Paul Ekman. While trying to explain the reasoning behind emotions, most of us will agree that they occur naturally due to a response to a situation. This response might be either automatic due to evolutionary reasons, or a result of our own evaluation and judgment the moment an event occurs. In other words, when we experience disgust, it could be the result of a judgment about how we feel when we see vomit, or because our body undergoes physiological changes like queasiness, and increased skin temperature at the sight of vomit. Over time, research has also separated other emotions that most in the scientific community believe are only experienced by humans and some other primates. These are called higher or moral emotions and are based on self-awareness, self-consciousness, and ability to empathize with others. In this category belong emotions like pride, guilt, embarrassment, jealousy, and shame. The main distinction between basic and moral emotions is that they tend to emerge after self-reflection, and they support the theory that emotions are results of judgments rather than simply involuntary reactions to a stimulus. Bottom line, higher emotions have started to make their appearance at a later stage of our evolution as humans. Whether discussing the origin or nature of basic or higher emotions, one question still remains: why do we experience them in the first place? Emotions are signals that usually fleet after we become aware of them. The best way to describe the function of an emotion would be as a mechanism that aims to get our attention and demand a response. But why do we experience the physiological and mental reactions to these mechanisms? For instance, why do we experience anger from a smack on the nose or shame from stealing? Here the debate ends and scientific consensus emerges. From an evolutionary standpoint, emotions are the agents of change and reaction. Disgust is a quick, nasty response that we experience when we encounter something that might make us sick. Anger quickly transitions us from a placid state to one where we're ready to fight. Fear prompts us to flee from dangerous situations. Sadness can generate the resolve needed to change the direction of one's life. Emotions can also motivate us to continue what we're doing. The experience of joy is a pleasurable one, and we're motivated to carry out the behavior that led to the emotion. Moreover, emotions serve as the glue that helps keep together social bonds. Our ability to understand emotions just by interpreting the other person's facial expressions signifies the fact that emotions are also used as social signals. This allows us to interact with others while understanding their needs and intentions, which is the bedrock of society. Emotions and society are strongly attached to each other, especially higher emotions. Offsprings are raised in families, and that's where the first idea of attachment and social bonding is created. This attachment is what prompts us to seek out the company of others, and if we don't do so, it leads to loneliness, which further on leads to the emotion of sadness. Another example is the feeling of shame we experience when stealing. Higher self-conscious emotions like shame prevent us from repeating behavior that is harmful to others. What we are not sure of is whether society emerged as a result of our ability to experience emotions based on our interactions with others or the other way around. As a person grows older, emotions develop from knee-jerk physiological reactions to predictable conditioned responses. In this sense, the emotions of the individual are hijacked by the expectations of the society the individual lives in, making that person more suited to live in that society. In conclusion, with regards to emotions and the role they serve, we should have in mind three things. Number one, emotions are motivators in order to keep doing what we're doing. Number two, emotions are reactions towards a threat, thus acting as mechanisms ensuring our survival. And number three, emotions, higher emotions mainly, are shaped by society in order to help the individual live in harmony with others. Hi guys, this video is sponsored by Brilliant. As you know, I rarely do sponsored videos, but Brilliant is such an interesting platform and I couldn't refuse when they approached me. I have tried many methods of learning over the years, but I'm almost certain that the best way to learn anything is by doing it yourself, especially by learning interactively. Interactive learning helps you learn way more effectively than just watching lecture videos. Brilliant's platform is designed around this idea. Take for instance this incredible course on astrophysics. In this course, you can learn intuitively concepts like matter, radiation, exoplanets, black holes, and dark matter. The structure is great and you can progress from one topic to the next gradually and seamlessly. I got hooked and I was playing around with the course for hours. I'm sure that Brilliant is ideal for students who want to deeply understand STEM related topics, but it is also perfect for every curious human who wants to delve into interesting concepts like astrophysics, quantum objects, logic, and physics of the everyday. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org slash metamorphosis 77. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Enjoy. Again, thanks for watching. See you soon.